What's up guys, Rich Duper Bash, and I'm just going to shoot a quick vid in the garage here. I've had several people on the channel asking me about basically kind of how to beef up their Arrmas. So I've got my my V3 Kraton here that I had scored on a deal from my hobby shop. Shout out again to Fast Track Hobbies in Rockland, California. I'll try and keep this short and to the point, guys. I'm just going to go over some of the parts I like using on my rigs. By no means is there just one perfect way to upgrade your car, so it's totally up to you, up to your budget, how you use your rig. I definitely want to give a huge shout out to Arrma for just designing awesome bashers. All the aftermarket companies making parts for these awesome rigs: GKA, Voltage Hobbies, Hot Racing, T-Bone Racing, RPM. The list kind of goes on and on. Really, what you put on your truck is entirely up to you. In general, I definitely don't do upgrades just for bling. It's got to serve a purpose. It's got to be something I've broken before and had like collateral damages as a result. And all in all, I try and basically be a little bit of a minimalist, both for budget and just for kind of keeping the weight down of the rig. So I'm not going to go over every possible upgrade. A lot of you guys already know what's available, what's out there. I just know what's worked with me, and so my plan today here is just kind of share how I set my rigs up and some of the key upgrades I highly recommend. This thing is definitely a beast, even bone stock in my opinion. If you start kind of really doing big airs and pushing this thing to the limit though, there's certainly things you can add to the truck to make it more durable and just basically make it more capable of taking punishment. As far as general advice with a brand new Kraton, I always recommend at least open up your diffs. Just make sure that they're fully filled. And while you're in there, you can pick which fluid you like to run. With a stock Kraton setup, the stock electronics, I really prefer running 20K in the rear, 200K in the center, and 50K in the front. Obviously, you need to land on the wheels. If you're running this thing, 50, 60 miles an hour and just totally sending it and having bad landings, stuff is going to break, no doubt about it. I like to go through all my diffs before I run my truck. I usually tune my diffs and go ahead and shim them right off the bat. Suspension, I absolutely love these V3 shocks. I do absolutely no upgrades to them at all. I like the stock oil. It's 1000 CST, and the stock springs are spec, and they just work killer. I'll put on like a 16 tooth, either Robinson's Racing extra hard, or the Techno Pinions are also really nice from what I've been told. Typically a good bumper, either RPM or T-Bone. Nylon bumper. This right here is what I run on all my Arrmas. It's the Typhon T-Bone basher bumper. It's a lot smaller and lighter, and doesn't protect the entire front of the truck perhaps as well as the bigger bumpers, but I just prefer the light, smaller bumper. It's definitely worked great for me. This is all I use. I'll take off if the 6S model doesn't come with one of the little mini bumpers. This is what was coming on the Typhon, the Italian, and formerly the Kraton. They've changed they put on a little bigger front bumper. So typically I'll use one of these guys just to lock in my hinge pins, and then I'll run the T-Bone and then an RPM rear skid plate. I've got nothing against the metal skid plates. I've just kind of come to like these RPMs. These are kind of core upgrades that I highly recommend are Voltage Hobbies or other high-grade aluminum servo mount. And then these Voltage Hobbies suspension mounts. This is the Kraton rear and the Kraton front. The part, guys, that I highly recommend is the plastic rear chassis support stop or wing mount support, whatever you want to call it. It's got a couple different names. I've been running all GKA, and they've been absolutely fabulous. I decided to go ahead and order one from Voltage Hobbies, but you can see from the side view the beef factor compared to stock. The problem with a stock one, again, is sometimes these break mid-run. You won't even know, or you'll be done with your run and you can't tell. It's split on both sides, and it's allowing this plastic to basically pivot up and down along with your wing mount and your rear chassis support. So if you look from the bottom, I don't know if the camera's going to get a good shot of this, but it's essentially hollowed out. It is a pretty strong piece, but when it goes, especially with hard tail landing. So versus a solid block of aluminum here. Ultimate beef factor upgrades that I like to run just because I like doing big airs and more high-speed bashing. Basically want to get a set of voltage towers. These are like kind of a frost color. I went ahead and got these. front and rear, steering plate, upper front suspension mount, and then both the rear suspension mount and the rear front suspension mount. Again, I have really no problem with the stock motor. This thing actually has plenty of power, plenty of top speed. However, I do have this Hobby Star that only really had like 2 or 3 runs on it. This is a 1480 kV 4092 long can. You'll see the size difference. It's definitely adds some weight to the truck. This is a high torque motor, and it's got, instead of the stock 4mm connectors, it's got 6.5s that fit perfectly with Castle ESCs as well as the Hobby Wing. The second Hexfly ESC I've tried, it's again made by Hobby Wing. This one here is a Hex 8, so it's essentially kind of an off-brand Max 8. So it fits no problem in the rig. And then I'm a fan of these separate set button and then the reliable on and off sealed on button. We're upgrading the servo to one that I run in almost all my Arrmas. I've basically the Savox SW1210SG waterproof. This isn't the highest torque servo, but for me it's been just fine for the wheel sizes I use. I generally don't use anything bigger or heavier than the DeBoot's backflips. Really nice upgrade I recommend, guys, are the RPM A-arms. So here's a shot of the rears, and then here's a shot. I've got 2 packets for the front, both the upper and lower A-arms. So far, I think I've only broken 2 of these in probably close to at least a year now. So you know, you can run the stock arms just fine. This is just one of these upgrades where these are lighter. You'll shave just a little bit of weight. To me, they have a little bit more flex in the stock arms, so it kind of affects the handling, and something I really like. But quite frankly, they've just really beefed up the rear part of the A-arm, and I tend to, over time anyway, as the plastics weaken, I tend to break the stock arms right about here. Or what will happen is the suspension pin will essentially just rip right out of the bottom of the stock arm. I think they're running this on both V3 Italian and the V3 Typhon. I'm pretty sure it's the same wing, but essentially it just doesn't bow as much from side to side when you take impacts. For me, it's just better protection for the rear tower. It's just kind of a tougher design when you look at it from the front there. It's just got a lot more plastic than the stock wing. Saucier out of Canada, his company is Tech Joe. I just wanted to report back, guys, every diff rebuild I've been doing for the last several months, I've been switching over to his gaskets. So far, no leaks. These have been working absolutely awesome. So when I go ahead and tear my diffs down here shortly, I'm going to be replacing all of the stock gray gaskets with these. Tip on durability: try and keep the total weight of your rig down. I know that sounds a little crazy. If you're adding aluminum, obviously you're adding weight, but 2 easy ways to keep the mass down of your rig is to just go with a lighter pack. You know, run times are going to be a little bit shorter, but I never really run anything bigger than like a 5,000 milliamp. This is a 4800 mAh 50C Hobby Star 6S. Much lighter than some of the other 6S packs out there. I still get, you know, a good amount of run time, probably 15-20 minutes, and then I just switch packs, let my rig cool down. The other thing is your wheels. If you're going to run monster size wheels, just realize when things do go wrong, you're going to have more damages. So I never really recommend anything bigger than the backflip. This is plenty of wheel mass. I just can't really see going with a Trencher X or any of the you know, Mongo tires, that balloon. Outland 3.8s, and also the Shockwaves. These guys here, they're just balanced awesome, plenty of cushion, and great air control. Shot one of my dirty Outcast, guys. This thing needs a little love. But I just want to give you a shot of my my tower to tower. Hopefully you get a good angle of that. Basically, the tower, I just notch it with a file or a Dremel, go ahead and zip tie it to the front tower, and then you cut out your the little cross members that go through the center cage, so you can just go ahead and thread your brace all the way through, and then it's just going to rest on the rear. I've got a little foam pad to kind of cushion it in the back. Also a little rubber 1/2-inch cap that I bought from Home Depot. I just kind of prefer the round tubing because with a hard enough impact, this will flex and take a little bit of bend. So anyway, to me, that's a good thing. Again, running a tower to tower, it's entirely up to you. It does add some strain to the towers. But all in all, in experimenting with and without a tower brace, I'd definitely say that the truck is more solid having a tower-to-tower brace on. Even upgraded, it doesn't really matter. You know, you guys probably realize that there is no indestructible RC, and sometimes you're just going to have a horrible landing, an odd-angled one-wheel landing, and sometimes you just got to own it. You know, you can't expect your truck to be 100% bulletproof. You're always going to break something. So anyway, I just want to throw that out there. A lot of people don't want to own it when they break their own rig, but you know, it's just part of the hobby. You know, sometimes you just gotta laugh it off, fix your truck, and just move on. Hey guys, I hope you find this helpful. If you have questions, just leave them in the comments. I just want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my good buddy Thomas P with TP Parts RC Extreme. He's just been invaluable, aside from being a great friend, and he's just been invaluable with helping me really learn these Arrmas. And so big shout out to you, buddy. Again, shout out to all the companies making awesome aftermarket support for these products. So, all right, guys, until next time, late. See how choppy that is?
It's choppy, dude.
It's really choppy. Oh, man. No cars coming, right?
No, I can't with my kid.
Oh, darn it. I just saw the curb and freaked out. Dang it.